I'm Randy Wilburn, Director of Education at Zweig Group. Welcome to our online ZLearning course, 10 Things That Will Actually Make You a Better Seller. This 1-hour continuing education program will help you to develop and strengthen your sales skills. We've come up with a range of simple ideas that, if done together, can be the difference in you closing a big sale for your firm or losing out to the competition. Competition that may already be familiar with a lot of the things that we will teach you today. We are with Zweig Group Chairman and Industry Expert Mark Zweig. Mark is the consummate salesman and business developer. He has a tremendous track record of business development and sales experience with a wide variety of design firms for 35 plus years. Hey Mark, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, how's it going, Randy?
It's going good. It's going good. So let's walk step by step through some simple ways that our audience of engineers and architects can develop and fine-tune their sales skills. And for those new to the business or this subject matter, we are going to discuss the differences between sales and marketing, because I know you feel very strongly about these subjects.
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool.
It's good
Well,
stuff.
Mark,
Everybody can do better.
yeah, absolutely. So Mark, let's start with defining sales so that we're all on the same page.
Well, I think a lot of times people confuse selling and marketing, or sales and business development versus marketing. And they say, how much time are you spending marketing, Randy? What they really mean is, how much time are you spending selling?
Right.
You know, selling is generally thought of as the oral presentation of features and benefits such that you gain a signed agreement to do some work.
Right.
You know, that's the whole point, is to close the job. That's making the sale. Marketing is much broader than that. Of course, it involves everything, the 4 Ps, the marketing mix: price, the product or service itself that you sell, where you sell it from, the physical distribution aspects of it, and the promotion. And of course, the promotion's much broader than just selling. That includes advertising and, you know, social media and e-marketing and all kinds of other stuff. So selling really is just a subset of marketing, but it's one that individuals can do working in AE firms. They aren't all in control of the marketing, but they can all be involved in selling.
In selling, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, that's good, and I know, and we could go on with this, and because you know, a lot of times people use sales, marketing, and business development interchangeably.
Yeah, they do.
And from your point of view, that's inaccurate.
It is, and you know, sales and business development, I have no problem using those interchangeably. Some people want to say business development is maybe a little more comprehensive than just selling, but I basically throw them both into the same pot.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, we will certainly share the actual definitions as we have found them online for both sales and marketing for our audience, just so you can get an idea. And you can take a look at the screen now and just see what the definition of sales is, as well as what the definition of marketing is. And you can keep track of that with your notes as you listen along with Mark and I today. So let's see where this goes. Mark, now that we've gotten these definitions out of the way, let's start at the top. You gave me a list of 10 things that will make you a better seller. There seems to be a theme here. You start off with an individual focus, you know, of the person that's trying to strengthen their sales skills, and you build from there. So let's start with the individual. Mark, you mentioned that the number one thing that we need to do to become a better seller is to stop thinking you need to be someone else. You need to be you. Can you expand on this idea a bit?
Yeah, I think a lot of people in this business, if you talk with engineers or architects, they think they've got to be the glib, fast talker, you know, joke teller, you know, whatever their stereotypical image of a salesperson is in order to be effective.
Yeah.
And it's the exact opposite. You know, you need to be yourself so you can be credible. You need to be believable. That's the main thing. And you're not going to be believable if you're trying to pretend you're somebody else.
Yeah.
So you got to be yourself. And, you know, I find it interesting that some of the people that I've observed over the years who are the most effective sellers, they defy every single stereotype there is.
Yeah.
You know, they talk very slow. They talk so softly that you have to strain to hear them.
Yeah.
They have, in some cases, annoying repetitive speech mannerisms.
Ticks
You
and
know,
habits.
I had one guy in particular who was one of the most effective sellers of AE services I've ever met in my life, said about every 10 words. If he was your teenage kid, you'd want to slap him for it.
Right, right.
But nevertheless, he was real and he was good at what he did. He was very, very successful
Yeah,
because he was himself.
yeah, yeah.
So I think it's very important to not try to pretend to be somebody you're not.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you find, and I'm just curious here, just to go a little deeper on this idea, how did you find your sales voice? And I know you started out early. I mean, you started out like at the age of 12 or 13 in a bike shop.
Actually, I started before that. I was selling bikes on the corner of my mom and dad's house at 8 or 9. That's really when I started selling. And it's funny because if you asked my dad, he's dead now, but if you asked him, why was I a good seller? And he always, of course, he was my greatest cheerleader.
Right.
I miss the guy tremendously, but he always said, what's good about you is you tell people the truth.
Yeah.
And early on, I would just point out everything wrong with whatever I was selling. That was the way I sold. And then there were no surprises.
Right.
So, that kind of goes along with being yourself. I think I discovered early that if I just, told everybody everything that was wrong, then I built their trust. They built trust in me.
Right.
And it was, then they bought from me, and so I think that's a big part of it. I think the other thing is, really, when you start talking about finding your voice, good salespeople are helpful.
Yeah.
It's all about providing help. You're not getting anybody to do anything they don't want to do. You're just helping them.
Yeah.
And so, working at the bike shop, we used to have little contests. Like the boss would see, you'd see some mother come into the parking lot, get out of her car with a flat tire on a bicycle wheel and with 5 kids in tow. And he'd say to me, Mark Zweig, if you can sell that lady a new bike, I'll buy you dinner at Red Lobster.
And
I was on,
That was it. So.
And so I'd take that wheel and I'd throw it in the truing stand, and it was all whoa, whoa, out of whack like that. And of course, it needed a tire and a tube, and then the wheel was bad, and the total cost of that would have been $35. So I can sell you a brand new bike for $59.95. And of course, the kid's like, yeah, Mom, I want that.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't need anything. It's got all new tire. You'll be in here next week with the front wheel that's bent.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you keep your old bike, but anyway, just telling people the truth, being yourself, and being helpful, I think, and it just works in the AE business too. I mean, again, I think back to the guy I told you who said, every 10 words. That guy was very helpful.
Yeah.
He gave a lot of ideas to his clients right away. He didn't hold back on anything. He used to immediately start throwing ideas out about what they could do, and they loved that.
Yeah, it's like you can't treat it as if the services that you offer from your firm are state secrets that nobody should have until you actually pay for them to be revealed.
Exactly, and I think a lot of people think like that. It's like, well, if we give them all our ideas, well, then they don't need to hire us. Okay, we all know there's far more to this business than ideas.
Absolutely.
Ideas are a good start, but you got to actually get it done.
Yeah,
and that's what separates the truly great firms from those that aren't, is the ones that can get things done for their clients.
Well, I think, and to that point, I was telling somebody the other day is that, it's all about, I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, but especially from a sales perspective and the way that you offer up the services that your firm has, the idea is ultimately, are you able to execute on what you promise?
Exactly. If you don't overpromise and you can deliver or over-deliver, then of course you're going to be able to sell them again.
Right.
Which is the goal of all this stuff. Is you don't want to have one-time clients. You want to have a continuing relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the sale gets very easy as you go on if you demonstrate competence.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So the next topic that you mentioned in these tips are that you said likability. You said that to be a better seller, we need to make people like you by asking them questions about themselves. Can you explain to me how that works and why likability is so important in sales?
Look, everybody's favorite subject is themselves.
Right.
I've never seen anybody that I didn't ask a lot of questions about, you know, where are they from? What do they do? What's the story with their family? You know, what did their parents do? What are they into? Who didn't think afterward that, you know, you're a great guy. I
Right.
mean, it's just, if you sat there and talked about all the shit that you were doing,
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't care,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
They're going to think this guy's an arrogant jerk. He doesn't care about me. So asking a lot of questions, getting people to talk about themselves, it's essential. And, you know, nobody is going to trust you if they don't first know you. And they're not going to trust you if they don't like you.
Right.
First, they're not going to like you if they don't know you. So, you know, the way they're going to get to know you is you're going to ask them a lot of questions.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
maybe you'll reveal a little bit about yourself along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to be likable. I mean, people do business with people they like.
Right.
They
Right.
pay more to do business with people they like.
Yep.
They tolerate sometimes delivery problems even to do business with people they like. It's just the way it is. It's always been like that. I can tell you in my other business, which is a design build contracting and development company, if I don't like somebody, I'm not doing business with them. I don't care if their price is low or their service is great.
Right.
We're not going to do business with them. I got to like them
Yeah.
because life's too short.
Right.
And when you have that kind of a relationship, you can trust if something goes wrong that they're going to take care of you.
Yeah. Now that's interesting because that's based on your interactions in your other business with like a contractor or somebody else. But what
Yeah.
about a client that you
Say,
don't
well, I
like?
also work with AE firms too. But
Yeah.
what about a client I don't like? You mean if I'm in the AE business?
Yeah.
That's hard to do a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we can talk more about that too. But I mean, truthfully, the goal of your marketing and sales program should be to drive demand for your services beyond your firm's ability to supply
Okay.
those services.
Okay.
If you do that, you will then be very selective about who you work for,
Right.
and you won't be working for people you don't like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's important. I don't want to work for people I don't. I want them to like me, and I want to like them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we spend so much time doing this stuff, it's not fun
Right.
if you don't have that kind of a relationship. It's just not fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's plenty of not fun stuff that happens during the day, so let's at least make that part fun.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a really good point, and I'm always telling people that, you know, especially in a workplace setting, most people that work at a firm typically spend more time with their coworkers and colleagues than they do even with their family at
Yeah.
home.
Oh, yeah,
And
sure.
it's the same thing when working with clients, is that you're going to spend a lot of time with them. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you guys just recently spent a couple of days in-house with on a retreat session with another firm, and they're a great firm and a firm that you guys like working with, and
Yeah, it does make a difference.
it makes a huge difference.
You know, in fact, I said to the CEO on his way out the door, I said, you know, I always learn something from you too.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's really important. But so, yeah, you got to make people like you. And if they don't like you, they're not going to do business with you.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So once you get someone to like you, there's still a lot to be done to make the sale happen. It's not as simple as just being the nicest guy on the block, right? Are there ways that you can quickly short circuit this process when it comes to like social media and posting things that deal with politics, religion, or any other hotbed topics? What are your thoughts about this? I know you have some strong feelings about this.
Well, I think you have to be
topic.
very, very careful. You know, everybody thinks their position is righteous and everybody should agree with them. And of course, we all know anybody who's on social media, you aren't going to change anybody's mind about most stuff.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I think it's dangerous. I think we're in a very divided culture right now.
Yeah.
And people are lining up on two sides of some kind of a fence. And here's the truth of it: no matter what you do, if you talk about politics or religion or you know, any number of other matters, big social issues, you can alienate half your audience.
Yeah.
So I just rather just stay away from that stuff.
Okay.
I don't share with most people, unless I'm very close to them, what my political or thoughts or religious thoughts, even maybe an even smaller group, because it's just not, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You don't need, no matter how right you think you are, it's just not worth it to alienate anybody. And it's very likely today that you will.
Yeah, I mean, my God,
You
and
know,
it's so instantaneous too.
it
I mean, you
is.
can say something and like in a matter of minutes get some vitriolic responses that can
Right.
totally change the dynamic of what you meant to say.
And it could be out there forever.
Yeah.
Because
That's,
once it goes online, I
yeah,
mean, so
that's
it's
it.
you can't even get rid of it. So it's not just I heard Randy said something. There it is. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you got to be extremely careful with that kind of stuff. Again, I'm gonna talk about a lot of stuff with my clients. It's going to be fun stuff, but it's not going to be stuff that's going to alienate people. Hopefully,
Yeah, yeah, and
you know.
yeah, and I think, and it doesn't mean, I mean, you have to understand that you have a personal persona and a public persona, and especially if you're operating in the design industry as an architect, engineer, whatever you do, and you're being thrust into a role where you have to interact with the client, it's important to understand the difference between the two and know how to turn one on and the other off so that you don't allow your opinions to taint your ability to interact with a client or potential client.
Yeah, that may sound contradictory to the idea of being yourself,
Right.
but it's the reality of it.
Oh, it is.
It
It
just
is.
let's
It
just
is.
be an edited self. We're not
Exactly.
saying say anything you don't believe in.
Yeah.
Just edit. Maybe you just don't share everything
Oh, yeah,
that's important
absolutely.
to you. I think that's the distinction.
Yeah. And
Don't, we're not,
there's too much oversharing going on
yeah, there
nowadays. There's
really
way too
is.
much. I mean, people are losing their jobs over this
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yep.
Again, like you said, they're alienating people both inside their own firm. They're also alienating potential clients and current clients. So it's a lose-lose situation.
It really is. It just doesn't make any sense. I just think it's a hotbed of controversy that you don't want to step into.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many other things that you can do with social media that can actually benefit the sales process.
Yeah, give people information that helps them.
Right, right.
Educate people. I mean, selling's about education.
Yeah,
So I'm a big fan of that.
right,
Tell stories that illustrate points. Give advice. Show examples of what you did one place that worked or didn't work.
right.
These things, I think, are what people really want, and they really help you sell because they show you're experienced and you become credible.
Right, right.
And it's useful information.
Yeah,
Again, you're helping.
absolutely. And I know that we've kind of done that from time to time with case studies about successes that we've had with clients, and we're not just going to not share that with another firm or with our wider audience. So you want to get that information out there for as many people to benefit from it as possible.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be that blatant, though. It could
Right,
just be, here's an idea we saw that's really good. It's not even a case necessarily. Not to say cases aren't very effective and compelling
right.
ways to sell professional services, because they are.
Yeah,
The whole idea of evidence-based design and showing people that, we designed this hospital bed or hospital room and people recover at a faster rate. Or our hotel rooms have a higher occupancy at a higher price. People love stuff like that.
exactly.
It's a great selling tool. There's no question about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a lot of information you can provide to people that's helpful, and you don't have to expect an immediate return from it. But it enhances your ability to sell, builds trust, and gets their attention.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, once we learn to manage ourselves properly through social media, which everybody take note of this, through the early stages of making an impression and building a relationship with a client or potential client, what's next? I mean, what do I have to do better than my competition to get the job or project? Return phone calls and emails faster than anyone else? What is it? I mean, what exactly, what's the recipe for
I think,
success?
yeah, I mean, the response time is critical.
Okay.
We just got a job the other day that the client said, we called you and we called another company. You guys responded within an hour. The other guys hadn't responded 3 days after.
Yeah.
So response is crucial. Everybody's impatient. Everybody wants their providers to jump
Yep.
quickly. And so you're going to get more work if you simply respond to people quicker. But you also, again, have to be helpful.
Yeah.
Response is one thing. Responding with information that helps people is another thing.
Right.
It's great to be fast, but it's even better to be fast and helpful.
Yeah.
So I do think that's a big part of it. If you do that enough, you're going to catch people at a right time, and they're going to give you a chance.
Yeah.
And then all you have to do is demonstrate, sale made. It happens. Every client out there has other service providers, and those service providers let them down, irritate them, do something wrong, create problems for them. And that's when you want to be there as the one that's helpful and responsive to their needs to step in. And there's your chance.
Okay. So with that, coupling that whole idea of responsiveness, acting fast to an email or a phone call or anything like that, what are some of the things that you've seen design firms do wrong in this area, and some of the things that you've seen them do right when it comes to quickly responding to sales requests and information?
I'm not sure exactly where you're going with that, but I think it's important to match up the right people to the client. Okay, but again, we're trying to talk today from the perspective of the individual and what they can do.
Yeah.
I think you've got to bring the right people in to help the client. You've got to put the right team together, or if somebody needs help and it's in an area that you don't know anything about, you better bring your expert along with you. Don't try to fake it until you make it. Get your team together and bring the right people to the party to help figure out what the client really needs and how to help them.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, no, I appreciate you cleaning that up for me. That was essentially my idea, was just making sure that people know that it's not necessarily up to you to sell every single thing within your organization. And there are other subject matter experts that are going to be able to come in and help you out through the process.
Yeah, I think some people think they have to be the one to do it all.
Right.
And that's kind of the mark of the naive or the younger people in many cases. They don't necessarily drag the experts out, but you got to be smart about that for sure.
Yeah. So keep a good list of people that you can call on for help within your organization, those resources.
Yeah. Or outside. There may be other providers that you need to bring in that are experts, and you're doing a service to your client by finding those other experts.
Up with somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and hopefully that's helpful. The other thing I want to point out, and certainly we brought it up, was just the responsiveness with inquiries that come in through email, phone calls. Excuse me. A lot of times firms don't realize that inquiries may come into a general email address on their website. And we know this all too well, that if nobody's minding the farm,
it happened to us at one point.
It did, and that's why
when we changed our website.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really critical. Yeah, if nobody's minding the store, those inquiries are not being responded to, which is terrible.
Yeah.
But again, to me, that's a firm issue. As an individual, I guess you can test the system in your firm.
Yeah.
You can send in a response, fill out one of those inquiry forms, see how long it takes somebody to respond to you.
Yeah.
It could be telling to test that. But yeah, you as an individual, you got to call people back. The most successful people I know are the most accessible.
Yeah. Yeah.
They answer their phone. They don't always have their secretary do it. They return their calls as quickly as they can. They're courteous to everybody. They return emails. Again, even if it's, hey, I don't have the information that you want right now. I got your email. I'll get back to you. You've got to be responsive. The faster you can respond, the greater the odds are the client's going to be impressed and want to do business with you. I don't care what you do.
Right. All right.
They just feel like they're getting more attention. You're showing them they're important. By not responding, you're saying you aren't important, client. By responding, you're saying you are important, client.
Yeah.
And that's the distinction.
Yeah, that really makes a lot of sense. So let's talk a little bit about responsiveness. You said responsiveness is the key regardless of who you're responding to. You also mentioned that positivity through the sales and marketing process is important. How much of a, I'm going to use air quotes here, can-do attitude does one need to have to separate themselves from the competition?
I think it comes across. You've got to believe it's possible for the client to hire you.
Right.
You've got to believe you can emerge victorious in this effort.
Yeah.
If you don't, if you're convinced that somebody else has already got the work and they won't switch horses, they won't hire you because of some past experience with your company or whatever, you're dead.
Yeah.
You've got to have a positive attitude. That will come across to everybody else that you're working with on your team and to the client themselves.
Yeah.
That, it's, I always say it's like a dog can sense if you're afraid of it, right. And then it wants to bite you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that with clients. They can sense if you don't have the confidence that you're the best firm, that you're the best provider, that you're the one who really can help them. They can tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it will come across. I can't tell you exactly how, but we have ways of communicating as humans that we don't even understand. It just happens. And so, yeah, you've got to keep yourself psyched up. You got to believe that you're the best. You got to believe that the client would be crazy to hire anybody else besides you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can have that mindset, I guarantee you it's going to help you.
Right. Well, I mean, and I've seen it with you. I mean, like I said, I've known you for a long time now, and through the highs and lows, you've always been very even keel about things, especially from this perspective of trying to develop and build business. And sometimes things don't go the way you want them to, but you still have to have a really positive attitude and push through those tough times that maybe your firm might be experiencing in order to get to where you ultimately want to be.
Well, as an individual who's been selling stuff for a long time, the reason why I can stay calm if things are bad is because I know it's a simple matter of probabilities.
Yeah.
If I make enough calls, if I go see enough people, if I get enough proposals out, we're going to win some jobs and we're going to be busy. Yeah. So focus on the activities that lead to the sale. That is absolutely was pounded into my head early on. When I got out of grad school, I worked for a guy who was the former national sales manager for Xerox Corporation,
right,
in a consulting firm. He knew how to sell. And he said, just focus on the activities. Just make the calls. Go see the people. If you do that and you're still not selling, then we're going to work on your technique.
Right.
But if you're not doing the basic numbers that you need to do, what's the point?
Yeah.
We don't know if it's the technique or you just aren't creating enough possibilities.
Yeah.
When you create enough possibilities, the statistics take care of you.
Yeah.
At some level,
Well, and again, what you're hearkening back to are some of the fundamentals of sales that any good salesperson has in order to be successful. Without those fundamentals, forget about it.
It's true.
There is no such thing as success in sales. So without those fundamentals.
But most people don't get those fundamentals that work in this business.
Okay.
Think about it. Where are they going to get them? Does the average AE firm have a sales or BD manager who's an experienced manager of salespeople?
Right.
No. Very, very few have them. You probably count them on one hand.
Yeah.
And so the rest of us, we've got amateurs working for amateurs, and they don't understand this. If you look at our survey results in our marketing survey, you'll see that average number of calls made by the typical full-time sales or BD person in an AE firm is so low that in other environments that may represent a day's worth of work.
Right.
Or a half a day's worth of work.
Yeah.
But that's the requirement, the expectation of activity for someone in an AE firm for a month. Why is that? No sales management. Nobody really knows about what kind of numbers you have to hit in order to really be consistently successful.
Yeah.
So there aren't enough possibilities. The statistics always take care of you over time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I remember when I first joined Zweig Group my first time around, that was always driven home to us, the importance of getting on the phone, making calls. I know we're going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit, but it was just that attitude that, like you said, it is a can-do attitude. It's just this idea that I can ultimately make something happen. The people that are actually watching this right now, that are taking in this information, you can actually make something happen if you just go out and do it. But you've got to believe that this can ultimately come to pass. And like you said, Mark, I mean, a lot of firms in the design space operate with this idea that, oh, okay, well, I'll just make a call a day or so, or maybe 1 or 2 calls a week, and that's sales and business development. That's I mean, if you haven't seen Boiler Room or Glengarry Glen Ross, some of our favorite movies, I mean, you know, you've got to spend some time on the phone to be successful. You've got to get in front of people to be successful. We're going to continue to drive that idea home, and if nothing else, if you take nothing else away from this particular training, is that a lot of it is attitude and just the ability to set up some systems for yourself to follow on a regular basis. And if you do that, you will ultimately find success. And then get around somebody like a Mark Zweig or somebody in your office that has that can-do positive attitude, that knows how to talk to people, that knows how to engage clients, and can help develop a skill set when it comes to sales that will allow you to be successful. Some of it is even as simple as just having a good script to follow, that once you've internalized that, you can then make it your own, right? It doesn't mean that, oh, well, you're just a robot just reading the script. No, you start with a script, you develop that, and then over time you say, okay, I've got this down. Then you start to improvise and iterate that script, and that's
really true. I mean,
process.
When I think about the sales training I had early on, everything was scripted.
Yeah.
We were taught how to deal with every single objection. And, you know, that stuff still sticks in my mind to this day.
Yeah.
You know, well, I don't know. Well, you know, we haven't made you a proposal yet, Bob, you know.
Exactly.
There's no decision to make yet.
Right.
Okay. Until we can get this specific, you know, scope together at a specific fee.
Yeah.
You don't know. Of course you don't know whether you want to hire us or not.
Right.
You know, but whatever. It's like all this stuff was programmed in, just like you say. So it is good to try to anticipate what are you going to say to people before you're in that position.
Yeah.
When certain things come up. We've already got another service provider. Great. We understand that. We're not trying to get you to drop them, but maybe there's something that you guys have, some kind of a problem that they haven't been able to solve. Maybe there's some kind of an ugly project that you need some help with. Maybe there's just something you need somebody to give an opinion on. We'd be glad to do that too. We just want to help you, Bob.
Right. Right.
And you know, so there's always a response to every objection.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're right. You need to internalize those, and you refine them. You don't want to be too scripted. You want to be able to stray from script if necessary, but to have it there as a tool, if you can use it.
But I think it's easier to stray from the script once you've kind of gotten it
Got
down.
a script.
Once you've gotten the script, and
right.
follow
Learn
it,
that.
and then you kind of add to it from there.
That's true.
And iterate, you know, from that perspective. And I always remember this one saying that you have, and I think this is wholly applicable to our conversation today. Just this whole idea when you tell people, hey, to decide not to decide. Right. Sometimes in sales, you just want to keep the conversation going.
Right.
You might not close the
Move
deal
them
on
to the
first
next
call.
step.
You just want to keep them engaged and keep them in front of you.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up though, because yeah, you do need, sales is a sequential process, and your goal is not to, you know, I could say the first time you meet somebody, you're probably not going to close them, although I have done that.
Right.
I've had situations where I called people on the phone and I got retainers out of them.
Right.
That has happened. But it doesn't happen that often. Most of the time it is a sequential process, and you do need to just keep people in it. But I don't like though is some of this conventional wisdom that you got to call on somebody 7 times before they'll buy from you.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
That's
it's
the
only
magic
on
number,
time.
so.
Yeah, I'm only on my 5th time, so you know I don't expect them to buy from me, but on 7th time they will. I mean that's. To me, that's a ludicrous notion.
Yeah, I don't even know who ultimately came up with that, but there was somebody out there selling a kit on selling that came up with some idea that this is the metric that's going to be the most successful. And you and I both know it doesn't always work that way. There's always some serendipity involved. Sometimes you'll call up somebody, like you said, and get a job right away. Other times
had a
it
problem.
may take several times.
Yeah.
It may
take
take
20
years.
times.
It may
Yeah,
take
it may take
years
2 years.
before you like.
Exactly.
I've had that happen since being back, where people are like, listen,
Yeah.
originally I wasn't sure I wanted to work with you guys, but over time, you wrote
Yeah.
articles, your podcast, whatever.
Right.
I decided I wanted to do business with you.
It took us
takes time.
I worked for a firm. It took us 2 years to get into the Memphis Shelby County Airport Authority.
Right.
We did something that they didn't like, and so we just had to just call them up every single week, go to every single board meeting for 2 years before you finally win them back.
Yeah.
There is something to that, just the dogged determination, not giving up, can actually pay off big time.
Absolutely.
It really does. People eventually either take pity on you, or they're just blown away that you're that dedicated.
Or you never know. I mean, somebody that has a contract in place right now may have a misstep or a challenge. I mean, even Chad Kleinen's the president of Zweig Group. I remember the story he's told over and over again about getting a job with one of his old firms with the airport authority. I think it might have been in Oklahoma or somewhere, but the bottom line was he was always persistent about staying in front of the people at the airport authority.
Exactly.
And for whatever reason, there was a lapse in the contract, and he just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And because he had built a relationship, and wasn't necessarily, obviously he wanted to do the work with that organization, but it was more of a fact that he just stayed present with them.
Yes.
And when the time came, there was a lapse, and his firm ultimately got the job because he was the one that was there.
Yep.
And sometimes you can just be in a place and pick up the pieces for a potential client that ultimately turns into work.
Yep.
I mean, that's huge.
That's
huge. So, okay, so we got a lot here, and I want to move on because the picture is definitely getting clearer when it comes to creating the ultimate sales machine. You must know yourself really well, be likable, make sure you don't create any enemies on social media, return phone calls and emails at the blink of an eye, and be extremely positive. What do I do if I get the job? Spend time working with the client and complete the project. Should I continue to maintain contact with that former client? Are they considered a former client? You mentioned something on your list about showing interest in a client even when you know they have nothing for you. How does that work? Shouldn't I be trying to focus on selling new jobs?
The thing you got to do, if you want people to like you and trust you, you can't view them as a transaction.
Right.
You can't only be interested in them when they've got something for you. You have to be interested in them when they got nothing for you.
Right.
And that's how you're going to build up this credibility and this trust and this like factor, which will then get you future work. So absolutely, you've got to stay in touch with people. I was just thinking this morning, I don't know why, maybe it was because we were going to do this session. I was thinking about some people that I have known for 38 years now.
Wow.
And the reason was, and I did a lot of business with them, and they're still my friends today.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I called them. I simply stayed in touch, and we talked about a lot of stuff, and it wasn't all work related.
Right. Right.
And it wasn't, and I didn't call them just when they went. I've had people verbalize it to me. You know what I like about you is you talk to me even when I don't have anything for you. I've had people actually articulate that.
Yeah.
I don't do as good a job of it as I used to do because I'm too damn busy.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's the way to be successful as a seller in this business. I can tell you that.
Oh, absolutely. And that was something that I learned from you early on, and that has served me well, both in my first time with Zweig Group and then now my second time and everything in between. But and I will say this: what do you do? Because this has actually happened to me, where you try to reach out and engage a former client and they just don't respond. I mean, I know sometimes I personalize that, and I know somebody taking this course might feel that way. It's like, yeah, but if I put myself out there and, they don't return things the same way that I've put them out there and get an in-kind response, then, I have egg on my face, and,
It is uncomfortable, but and gosh, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But you know what? I tell you, take a little break and then go back at it.
Yeah.
Because I've got some clients that go AWOL for periods of time, and some of them have been friends of mine for a long time. I say client/friends, but they come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
They come back, and a lot of times it's only because of my initiative that I'll call them back 6 months later. What's going on, man? I haven't heard from you.
Yeah.
You know, and let them off the hook. You know, if they haven't responded to earlier inquiries, don't chastise them for that. If they apologize to you, accept it graciously and quickly. I understand we're all busy. Man, I'm in the same boat, you know? Let them off the hook, and things can be fine again. I mean, you know, you may find that they once again turn into a new client for you.
Yeah.
Or a client.
I mean, yeah, and you know, you don't want to have that conversation where you try to berate somebody or give them a hard time for not getting in touch with you, and then all of a sudden they say, well, you know, my wife has cancer, or you know, I've got a dying kid, or I mean, it could be a number of different things. A lot of times we take on the issues that our clients and potential clients and former clients are dealing with, and sometimes it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So don't take it personal. Just deal with it and move on, and be there when the time is right and when the opportunity hits. You know, because it will. And if you do that more often than not, people will come back to you, because I think the normal refrain for salespeople, especially in this industry, but in a lot of industries, is that they constantly have their hand out. And if you can't put something in that hand, then they just pull it back and move on.
Right. I'm only going to spend time with the clients that have money. If they don't have money, we don't have interest in them. Right. Huge mistake.
Yes.
And I've seen that before, okay, in marketing plans and other places. Don't operate like that.
Right. Right.
Do not operate like that.
Yeah. I think another important aspect of this, and again, we've alluded to this, but this, you know, sales is not a short-term thing. It's a long-term play. Yeah. And for those of you that are in the design industry, and this is the industry that you feel wedded to and that you plan to make your career in this industry, don't think of it from a short-term perspective. It's definitely long-term. So there are people that you're interacting with now that you may not do anything with for 5 or 10 years. But you will eventually do something, especially if you remain true to your message, if you remain true to the services that you're offering. People will see that, and ultimately, when the time is right, they will come and work with you. So it's the mindset needs to be long term, not, you know, I got to get my quota in for this quarter or else I'm screwed. I mean, that could theoretically be the case, but that's the other reason why you've got to get out there and work it. You've got to get out there and contact as many people as possible.
It is a long game. I agree with you.
Yeah. So
it is. It's hard to affect, you know, immediate change. We were talking about this with this client of ours yesterday about their full-time BD people, you know, and they said, well, we hired this guy, you know, and it wasn't a full-time BD person, but it was somebody who was supposed to be doing business development and on top of their significant technical role.
Right.
And it's, you know, they said, well, you know, he's been there 9 months. It's hard to tell yet because it takes a long time to develop projects in that space that they're in. Looks good right now. It may take 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, in some of these things, there's a long lead time.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to get going sooner. Rather than later. Don't procrastinate. It's hard for people in a project-driven business to take the time to call people when you don't need to call them for any reason.
Right.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah. And I think the time for you to be active in trying to engage existing or past clients is when you are flush with work, and you need to continue to prime the pump, because, you know, I just remember getting an email recently from somebody that just said, look, you know, I feel good for everything that we have coming down the pike, and even 2019 into the third quarter of 2019 looks good, but I know beyond that, there's not much there. And the idea is that sometimes you have a long lead time. You just need to get out there and work the phones. You need to get out there and get in front of clients. I will say this as well. If you are actively working on sales individually, you need to create a list of people that you stay in contact with on a regular basis, and that you even set up even a reminder. I have to set reminders up on my calendar just for me.
Sure.
And once a month I have reminders that pop up that remind me to call certain people.
It's a good idea. You got to do that.
It is.
It really is.
I mean, some of us are wired a little bit better than that, where we just naturally do it. But if you need that extra kick in the pants to kind of say, oh, I got to get on the phone and reach out to these individuals, just make a list of those people that you need to contact.
The other thing is, and I agree with you totally. The other thing is, go see some people.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But
you got to go see them. You can't just only do it with email, which is the problem with young people.
Right.
It's like, did you call so-and-so? I sent them an email. I told you to call them.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
if I had said I want you to send an email, I'd have sent an email.
Yeah.
Bob doesn't respond to emails, or whatever.
Yeah.
You've got to go see people.
Absolutely. So, all right. So let's move on. We've got a couple more points that we want to make before we wrap up this session. When it comes to keeping in touch with the client, you also mentioned the importance of the phone and getting out to visit people, which you talked about, instead of over-relying on email. So you stole my thunder there.
Sorry.
How does that work for someone that may be so used to sending emails and text messages? And I'm not going to make this a millennial thing, because yes, some millennials rely more on electronic communication than
some
anything
old
else.
people do too.
And some old people do too.
Yeah.
Now, how do we do that as opposed to meeting face to face? I mean, how do we, how does that work?
You just have to do it. I mean, again, I've got certain clients that if I just don't go see them once a year or twice a year, we're not going to get any work out of them. But if I go see them, we always get work out of them.
Yeah.
Now, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
They want to see you. Yeah. That's the way they're wired.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not top of mind. It's so easy. If you get an email, how many emails did you get this morning already? I can tell you, I've already had at least 100 of them.
Right.
And, I delete everything I can delete as fast as I can. That's the first thing I do. I delete before I read. I look at what it is and I delete. Then I read, because I'm trying to keep my inbox clean so I can respond to people.
Yeah.
And it's so you got to break through that.
Right.
Right. You may need to go have a meal with somebody and talk to them. The other thing is, it's so much easier to form the relationship where they like you and they know you. Can you know and like somebody when all you get is emails from them?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
You don't really know what they're like.
No. And so much gets lost in translation through electronic mail.
It really does. I mean, all those other ways that people communicate.
Right.
That could show whether you like them or not.
All right, so here's let me take this point on this topic, because I know some of you that are watching this are probably thinking, well, Mark, Randy, that's all great, but nobody in my company has a budget for this, and how am I going to get on a plane and go see a client or whatever? What would be your advice to that young engineer architect?
You can call them. Everybody's got a phone.
Right. Okay.
I'll never forget one time years ago. It was really funny. John Augenbaugh was with Carter and Burgess, and he came Fred White and I went to see John Augenbaugh. He was the head of the Dallas office for Carter and Burgess. Mm-hmm. You may remember him.
I do remember him.
And John picks up a phone and shows it to Fred and said, "Fred, this is a phone. You can dial it and call people and talk to them." Fred was kind of introverted. It wasn't that he was afraid to call anybody, but nevertheless, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But it's so at least you can call them.
Yeah.
And even if you can't go see them, everybody can call them.
Yeah.
But you should try to go see them too. I mean, the best way to go see people is be working with them, clearly.
Obviously, yeah.
But sometimes you just have to go see them.
Yeah, and do whatever you can with your manager or somebody higher up, a principal in the firm, to talk with them and say, give them make the valid points as to why you want to get in front of this individual, or why you need to, be out of the office for a day to develop business and to make some things happen. A lot of it is just you getting out there and building those relationships. They will never happen in your cubicle.
Yeah.
They just won't. So
It's true.
all right, so I'm a big fan, as you know, Mark, of creating routines for your day. When you do certain things like follow up with a client and working on specific projects, checking emails, meetings, etc., how do you efficiently dedicate time to selling during your normal workday? And I've heard you talk about this in the past. And is it something that we should be doing every day? I mean, is sales something that you do every day?
Well, yeah, it is something that you should do every day. I mean, you can certainly say, I'm going to spend this time every day between 4 and 5 o'clock. I'm going to shut my door and I'm going to just call people. You can do that if that's what you want to do. Or you can say, once every 2 weeks, I'm going to take Thursday, and all day Thursday, I'm going to call people.
Okay.
You would be blown away by what that would do. The typical person in this business who wants to sell more work, if they said, you know what, I'm going to order my sandwich in advance so it arrives on my desk at noon.
Yep.
And I'm going to shut the door and I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to dial. I'm not even going to put my phone in the cradle.
Right.
I'm going to disconnect and dial, disconnect and dial. I'm going to call everybody I ever worked with in this business, everybody we're currently working with, and everybody I want to work with.
Right.
And I'm just going to call them and see what happens from there.
Yeah.
You'd be blown away by what that would do.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
blown away.
Yeah.
I am 100% positive it would pay huge dividends. Most people don't do that.
Yeah.
They're so distracted. They're so, and it's understandable. It's a project-driven business. You look at the typical person in this business, what is measured as it relates to their performance? Their chargeability. That's the only thing that's measured.
Right. Right.
And so that's what people respond to. So that takes precedence over these calls.
Yeah.
But you got to do these calls or you won't be chargeable.
Yeah, absolutely.
You won't have any jobs to charge.
Yeah. And it certainly will create new opportunities for you,
Yeah.
new sales opportunities, and you just have to set up a plan and a routine. Even if you say
Discipline.
Hey, it's totally discipline. I'm a big fan of routines, and I think it definitely can work well for you. And one way that you might be able to undertake this is to simply, again, like Mark said, suggest a time. I would say maybe at least once or twice a week. Carve out an hour or two, not a lot of time, say 2 to 4 hours a week, and close the door, make a list of who you're going to call the day before, go through your Rolodex or go online and look at everybody that you want to reach out to, and just touch bases with them. You don't want to ask for anything. You just want to see how people are doing, and invariably through some of that market research of what's going on with existing or former clients, you're going to learn some information that's going to be very valuable and what your next steps would be from a sales process. So I think it's important to do.
I do too.
Yeah. So, all right. If I'm new to sales and business development in my organization, what should I be doing to make sure that I'm creating great proposals and presentations? Now, keep in mind, we're going to do a whole program, a whole training on winning presentations, because you've been involved in some amazing presentations for some amazing clients that won some amazing work. So you do know what you're talking about, and I cannot wait to go through that. And so this is
presentations are fun.
They are fun. They're really definitely fun.
I love them.
But when it comes to proposals and presentations, I know you mentioned something about, first of all, kind of maybe wiping the slate clean and starting from scratch. Or should someone use what's already there at their firm?
That's the problem. Everybody goes to what's already been done, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
And every time it's used, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yep.
The description of the firm, the description of the QA, QC process that you don't follow, jobs that were done eons ago, maybe jobs where clients are pissed off at you. Forget all that. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Start with a clean sheet of paper and really try to articulate your understanding of what the client's needs are.
Yep.
And then how you will address their needs.
Yeah.
Not what all you've done in the past for everybody else under the sun.
Yeah.
That's always the focus. Let's talk about them and their needs. Okay, if we do that, we're going to be a lot more successful.
Yeah.
And then we start answering fundamental questions like why hire our firm, which is so fundamental.
Yeah.
And many proposals and presentations I read never get to that. They talk about everything under the sun. It's implied, but it's not specifically addressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, let's be very direct. What are your needs? What's our understanding of your needs? And why hire us?
Yeah. Yeah.
With a nice clean sheet of paper, get out of the 19th century language, as per your request, enclosed herewith, per the above referenced project RFP.
Thee and thou.
It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Who talks like that?
Yeah.
Let's strike all the BS. Let's cut it down to the core of what's really critical.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. That really distinguishes us and shows we've done our homework. We understand you.
Yeah.
And we're passionate about helping you.
Yeah.
Those are the things you really want to get across. And you'd be crazy if you hired anybody else.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah. That's your way of asking for the sale too.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, man.
And I think, you bring up some other good points, and we are going to get more into this in other training sessions that we do. But I mean, you almost have to write on a 5th grade level so that everybody can completely understand it. I know you're an engineer or an architect or some amazing designer that has all of the, degrees to prove it. But you don't have to show how smart you are and how you write. All you have to do is get your point across.
Yeah, it's condescending when you...
It is.
Or arrogant, I don't know, whichever maybe that's not... But to use a lot of buzzwords and terminology that your audience doesn't understand.
Right.
Arrogant, more so than condescending.
Yeah.
But I think you don't want to do that. You don't want to alienate people. You want people to feel like they can understand what you're saying, that you treat them like they're intelligent enough to understand it, and don't use a lot of buzzwords.
Yeah.
And acronyms.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Kill the buzzwords and acronyms.
Yeah, we can talk more about that another time.
Yeah,
that's that's a subject I'm very, very passionate about, is just communicating clearly in your writing.
Yeah. Actually, we're going to do that. It's one of the next training sessions that we're going to do, how to write effectively.
Good.
In multiple forms. So emails, letters, correspondence to clients, and then, all of your materials that you put out and share with
people need a lot of help in
marketplace.
this business.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Most of the stuff I read is horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think a lot of the problem is the fact that we just keep taking the same writing and going over and over it instead of throwing it away.
Yeah. I mean, literally
Needs to be
start
thrown
with
away.
a blank sheet of paper and go from there. And
Right.
Then, and then constantly do it over and over again until you get it right.
You'll also avoid those embarrassing mistakes where another client's name pops up
Yes.
in your proposal.
Yeah. Well, that's why they have a whole thing in Word called find and replace.
Yeah, no kidding.
Find the name, because if you're rehashing your proposals over and over again and you're not doing find and replace to replace the names of the former client that you sent that proposal to, you're really going to run into a problem.
No, it'll pop up sometime.
It will pop up, and
they'll say this,
and they'll point it out to you.
They will point it out.
And some will point it out to you in a snarky way, and others will be like, "Hey, just so you know, this showed up," and they'll be cool about it. But others will put it and say, "Hey, you guys aren't that thorough about things," and that leads me to believe maybe we shouldn't be doing business with you in the first place. So, just because of something that was misplaced in a document, so keep that in mind. All right, Mark, so you've given us a ton to think about as we develop our sales muscle, and that's what we're doing here today. How do we know if we are even reaching our client effectively with the things that you've previously mentioned? How do you read someone that's constantly being bombarded by sales and marketing materials and efforts in their professional and personal life? We're just so, I'm being sold all day long on my phone, over the phone, through the internet. It's just constant bombardment. Some of it's professional purposes, others are personal. How do we reach our client effectively and remain relevant in their eyes?
We got to be their friend.
Okay.
If we've got a personal relationship with them, they'll pay attention to us. If we don't have a personal relationship with them, they won't pay attention to us. Yeah. And so I think that's super, super critical. It's not emphasized enough.
Yep.
Practically all my friends are clients. Okay? If you really think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're either coworkers or they're clients.
Yeah.
And you've got to be friends with them. That's how you'll break through all that noise.
Yeah.
They need to know you. They need to like you. They need to trust you.
Right. There's that
Okay?
know, like, and trust. I hear
It
that
works
over and over
every
again.
time.
So,
I'm telling you.
yeah.
They're not going to trust you if they don't like you. They're not going to like you if they don't know you.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Will they know you if all you do is send them emails and they see your social media posts? No, they will not know you. They will only know you if they talk to you and see you.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah. Okay.
So have that personal relationship. Invest the time it takes to have a personal relationship, doing something that's not billable, because in the long term, it's going to create the work that you need to sustain yourself and a lot of other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
We're all, time is very tight. Who we spend time with, who we spend time on, is who we see as important. And so that's why clients know that.
Yeah.
They're not stupid.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. No. Man, Mark, you've really laid it out, man. I didn't know if we were going to have enough to do an hour, but this is so
Enough.
rich. There's a lot of information.
We could go on all day,
I know,
buddy.
we could go on. I know. Man, I want to thank you so much for sharing so many great tips on getting the most out of the sales process. Do you have any final thoughts to share before we close out this ZLearning session? Keeping in mind that, there are a lot of young people that are watching and being introduced to sales for the very first time by watching this training, and we certainly appreciate them and their audience. But there are going to be some seasoned individuals that watch this. But just what final thoughts would you want to share with those folks?
Learning how to sell will help every single aspect of your life. Everything.
Everything.
You'll get more boyfriends and girlfriends. Your mom and dad will be happier with you.
Yep.
You'll get jobs that you wouldn't have gotten, meaning positions in companies or organizations that you want to get jobs in. You'll be able to influence people to do what you think is the right thing for your technical or design solution.
Yeah.
Selling is critical. We're all selling. Everybody's got to be selling. You'll get other people to work for you and want to work for you. You learn how to sell, and it's going to help everything in your life. Every single aspect of it will be better.
Wow. Okay. There you have it, folks. The last word from Mark Zweig on selling. This won't be the last time that we talk about selling, but I certainly appreciate you taking time today to kind of share your experience. I mean, 38 years is quite a bit of time to have been doing this and to do it at such a high level. So I really appreciate you doing that. So
thank you, Randy.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank you for watching this ZLearning episode on 10 things that will actually make you a better seller. Remember, in order to get continuing education credit, you must follow the instructions in the email that came along with this video. Complete a short quiz and a certificate will be provided to you immediately. If you'd like to share this video with your office in a lunch and learn format, you can do so easily. You only need to purchase additional quizzes for the number of people that watch the video and wish to get their continuing education credit. Check your email when you order this video for additional information. You can always email us here at elearning@zweiggroup.com. You can also email us with any feedback or thoughts too. We love feedback, and we especially love to hear from anyone that was impacted in a positive way by this video training. Stay tuned for our next ZLearning class. Whether you are looking for online continuing education classes in project management, business development, marketing, leadership, or financial management for AEC professionals, ZLearning has got you covered. Until the next CEU, I'll see you later.